The Roland Garros 2025 final is behind the door, and let's try to compare these two fantastic players. It's the final we have all been waiting for, Jannik Sinner versus Carlos Alcaraz. In today's players, not tennis rackets, guys, but players comparison. So guys, stay tuned for my full prediction and comparison. So I have prepared here a few categories I want to talk about. You can see that there is no swing weight, right? No swing weight, but I can probably put there a swing weight too, based on how both of these players swing, right? But I will not do that, as it might end up being a little bit confusing for you. So instead, I have put there these categories. So it's power, spin, precision. Okay, it's all about the rackets, right? No, it's not all about the rackets. It's about the players. And then there is the athleticism, footwork, fitness, tactics, creativity, and mental strength. So the first three categories you can find also in my tennis rackets comparison, but it's not the case for today's video. So without further talking, let's start with the power level. So I will be giving points, and it can also be a split decision, so half point to each of the players when they both have the attribute I'm talking about. But if someone is more dominant, he will receive a 1 point and the other player will receive 0 points. So let's start with the power. So power level for both players is really high. You might be thinking that Jannik Sinner is actually hitting a lot harder than Carlos Alcaraz, but is it really the case? When you're watching the matches on clay, who is hitting with more power? Well, I believe both have great power level. Jannik is hitting more flat. He's like penetrating the court with more kind of flatter shots. He feels like he's more dominant because he's hitting like almost every single shot he's hitting really hard, like Iga Swiatek, let's say. But Carlos Alcaraz has a tremendous amount of power in the sense that the ball is really spinny. It's really it's like a tornado. So he can really transfer the power into the spin, which I will talk next point. But Carlos can also penetrate the court with some super fast shots from his forehand. I'm really kind of, I don't understand why he is not using his power level more often, because he can kill the ball like no one on the tour if he wants. The question is, does he want it to do, or is he just forced to do it? So if he played more aggressive, the proper power shots, then I believe he would be more dominant, even more dominant. But sometimes he's just waiting for the right opportunity and he's creating it by the spin shots, and he feels more comfortable with the spin. So that's why his power level is great, but it's not better than Jannik Sinner. So there is this split decision. So both will receive half point in the power category. Now the spin. The spin, without a doubt, I don't even have to talk about too much, because Alcaraz has the best spin in the whole tour. That's without a doubt. Maybe there are also some great players with great top spin, but he is just very consistent with the spin. The RPMs on the ball are crazy. It's really close to Rafa, Nadal. But I believe Rafa had a more spin because he did use a different racket with more head-heavy balance, so the racket created even more spin. But Carlitos is really close to Rafa's spin level, and we know that the king of the clay had the biggest spin potential on his arm. So that's without a doubt a full point for Carlitos. Precision. So this is a little bit controversy category. Controversy because what do I mean by precision? Is it like hitting the lines really precisely, or does it mean that the player is playing really consistently and precisely where he really aims, where he wants, as you can see it on his like overall presentation on the court? And in this case, I'm giving full point to Jannik Sinner. Full point. Why? Because his shots are really like, you can see that he's hitting the target exactly where he wants. His shots are more flat, so the trajectory of the ball is like more direct. There is no compromise about the shot. Instead, Carlos is hitting his target by the spin shot. And sometimes his balls are like too short, sometimes they are very long, but quite inconsistent in the length. So he's using his power to create the spin, not precision. So it doesn't mean that he's an awful player in terms of precision. He can hit some tremendous shots, but I think that Carlos is hitting the best and most precise shots when he is kind of forced to do that. He's not like creating it by himself, but he's more of a player who is waiting for the opportunity, and then he strikes, and then he can really create some great precision shots. But in this case, I just believe that Jannik Sinner is fully deserving a full point on a precision level when hitting a tennis ball. Athleticism is, for me, a clear winner in this category is Carlos Alcaraz. The way he moves, he is like like a panther, or like some, I don't know, lion, or he's just everywhere. He can jump, he can slide, he can create some trick shots. He's just phenomenal. He can run like crazy. He's like a spaghetti guy. He's just, his elasticity and overall, the way he stretches on the court, he looks like he's bigger than he is in the real life. So his athleticism is phenomenal and full point on this one. But I will talk also about Jannik. Jannik's athleticism is great. I mean, his footwork, I will talk about it next point, is tremendous. So I think he's just losing in this category just a little bit because Carlos is, he's fast. His sliding technique is tremendous. So in that way, Carlitos looks like he's like a next level. He's in the extreme zone, and Jannik is in the like great zone of athleticism. But Carlitos is on another level. So full point for Carlitos in this category. So the next category is called the footwork. And this will be also quite controversial because you might be thinking, okay, so Carlitos is very athletic, so his footwork must be great. But from time to time, I can see like Carlitos is making like too many steps. Sometimes there is some step missing. So sometimes he feels, in my opinion, kind of unsure how to move on the court. It's weird because his athleticism is, as I said, is out of this world. But sometimes I don't think he is like the most precise guy. It's like the raw type of footwork with the power level he has. So sometimes there are these small mistakes in his movement. So I don't see him as someone as like, Roger Federer. Instead, the footwork of Jannik Sinner is really the closest, in my opinion, now to Roger Federer. But Jannik is staying more low, and he's creating the power and the anticipation by staying low. He's on his feet all the time on his forefoot, and he's jumping like a little bit. He's making these small jumps to be really prepared, and he's always kind of going forward. After he hits the ball, he goes forward and he stays there. Then he goes like one step backwards. Then he goes after the shot once again forward, and he's like jumping like a jumping spider or like a flying saucer. He just moves in this. It looks almost like he's hovering over the court. So he looks lightweight. His footwork is really, really precise. I don't see any flaw in his footwork. I strongly believe it's the best footwork on the tour, and I'm giving him, for the lightness of his presentation on the court, a full point. guys, full point. I know it will be controversial, but that's how I see it. So the next category is called the fitness level. Fitness. So this is very hard to decide. So I decided just to split the point. So half point to each of the players, because I think I've never seen actually a tired Sinner. I never seen tired Sinner. Not at all. Never, ever. And I have seen tired Carlos Alcaraz. And the reason why I have seen Carlitos being tired on the court is that he puts so much effort into his shots that sometimes the energy is just wasted. And that's why I gave the footwork to Jannik Sinner, because it is so efficient, so lightweight, so easy. And on the Carlitos side, he's just a raw power machine that he's just depleting his energy levels more and faster. Also, how he swings the racket, how he goes to the shots. He's just depleting the energy on the spin, not on the speed of the shot. So there is this differences between these two players, but I believe Alcaraz has always proved like he can really go until the very end. If it is a 5-setter, it doesn't matter. He just goes full throttle, but I have seen him feeling and looking tired on the court. So that's why I'm giving this point half and half, split point, so half point for both players. So in terms of tactics, who is tactically better prepared? And this is, once again, it depends on the perspective how you look at it. So Jannik Sinner tactic is to hunt his opponent to death with consistency, with speedy shots, with taking the time away from his opponent, and he's just staying on the baseline, and I hope he will do that also in the final. So he's taking away time from his opponent, and he's just very, very aggressive on his shots all the time, and he looks like he's like a next-gen Novak, he's like a wall, so the balls are just, bouncing from him like you're hitting a wall, but with speed also, not just that the balls are just put, away somehow, but they are really speedy, and you don't have time to think about anything. So in this case, I think that in terms of the tactics for Jannik, it is like really easy. It's not complicated, but it works. So simple things works in life the best, as Jannik is proving. On the other hand, Carlos Alcaraz's tactics depends on how the match evolves and how fast he gets into the match and how he is possible to play his game, which is, and we will talk about it in the next point, which is with his game is just more creative, more fun to watch. He's just, the magician on the court. So in this case, the tactics of Carlitos is just, to kind of outplay, outsmart, outspin his opponent with tremendous variety of shots. So I am giving in the tactics category half point to Jannik Sinner and half point to Carlos Alcaraz. The next point is called creativity, and there is no doubt that Carlitos fully deserves the full point because his game has just everything what you can expect from a high level tennis player who's just having fun on the court. So I think that Carlos Alcaraz is actually one of those minorities, or let's say players in the top 10 who is really enjoying the game like a child. So sometimes it goes against his plans because sometimes he's like overthinking the rallies. He's just playing sometimes too friendly somehow. It's like a cat and mouse play. I just want to play with you a little bit, Jannik. So I will put there a drop shot that was kind of unnecessary. I should just have killed the ball down the line, but I will hit their drop shot and see what you're doing because I like watching, my opponents struggle, and I like to play with them like cat and mouse, to just have fun. So otherwise the tennis would be just boring for me. Yeah, I'm Carlitos. So this is his way of kind of thinking, and it can cost him matches, and it cost him matches in the past, but overall we can't deny that his creativity is just out of this world. It is the best and most kind of creative player on tour with tremendous feel, awesome drop shots, awesome trick shots. He can do everything. He can go to the net and he is just having fun on the court, the most of all the top 10 players, without a doubt. So the full point for Carlos Alcaraz. And the last category, and I've picked it up because this is, for me, as a tennis enthusiast and tennis player myself, I've been playing tennis for more than 30 years. So I know that the mental strength is the most important thing when it comes to two players who are on the top level. Then you can just scrap everything what I have been talking about previously. The mental strength is a decider. And in this case, in my opinion, there is no doubt that the mentally more strong player and fully deserved to receive the full point is Jannik Sinner. So I didn't see him ever looking like he is desperate on the court. He doesn't know what to do. I've never seen him like on his knees. I never saw him. He's like somehow struggling. He is nervous. He's being angry and so on. Like, never. This guy is so solid in the category of the mental strength that other players in the top 10, including Carlos Alcaraz, look like teenagers. Jannik Sinner is a proper adult player that is in the same category as Rafael Nadal. He's so matured as Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. So he is the closest to the big three from all of the players we can see now on the tour in the category of mental strength. On the other hand, Carlos, he sometimes looks confused on the court, kind of lost. Sometimes he's, as I told you, in the creativity category. He's just overthinking the rallies, and his mental strength is not on the highest level. It is very high because the joy he brings to the game is somehow making him the better player, but also it can take away from his concentration, commitment, the fight, the energy and so on can sometimes in Carlitos' game just drop, and you can see that he can just lose a set in a moment, and you don't know what was happening. Like, he wasn't there on the court, he wasn't present, and then he switched back and he's dominant, like he showed with the Musetti. So guys, let's sum it up. So to sum it up, both players have in total received the same amount of points, 4.5 points. So these two guys are in these categories, when you put them together, in my opinion, they are really on the same level. Now, what is important in the Roland Garros final, because we are talking about clay courts, the most difficult surface on the tour, the most physically demanding, the most, I would say, stressful. It's the stress that is put on your body, the most injury, let's say, occurring kind of surface where anything can happen. It's very physical, it's tough. So who is going to win the match? So in my opinion, this will be a really tough fight, but realistically, who is a better player on clay? Definitely Carlos Alcaraz. It is his territory. The attributes just speak for his game, and it will also depend on what the weather will be in the final. So if it is, hot, fast, then there is a chance for Jannik Sinner he can win this thing. But if it is, kind of humid, slower, then it will suit more Carlos Alcaraz. So it will truly depend, but I believe that a small favorite in this final, or actually quite a big favorite in this final, is Carlos Alcaraz, as we saw in the Rome final. And by the way, I have made an analysis on why Jannik Sinner lost to Carlos Alcaraz in my previous video in the final of Rome. Just check it out. And I've been talking about how Jannik Sinner lost his kind of reality in that match, and he didn't play what he should play. So just my advice for Jannik Sinner is just to go full throttle in this match, hit the balls as early as possible, and to hunt down Carlitos. It will be super difficult because as we are talking about the athleticism, he is a top athlete. So to outplay Carlos Alcaraz, it's gonna take Jannik a little bit more than just hitting really great fast-paced shots down the line. He will have to go for the shots also to the net. So not only from the baseline, but he just needs to attack and go forward and finish the points earlier. Otherwise, Carlos will just outspin and outplay Jannik in the more creative kind of way. So I believe that Carlos is a small favorite and he is going to win this match. And my prediction is it will be a 5-setter and 3-2 for Carlos Alcaraz. But anything can happen. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this match? Who is the favorite? Whose game is better on clay? Who do you cheer for? Who do you like more? And just comment, subscribe if you are new. And of course, you can support my channel by buying me a coffee, clicking the super thanks button, or sending me some of your love through PayPal. And if you do that, you can ask me a question, a donation question, which is guaranteed I will answer the question as best as I can and as fast as I can. And it can be about tennis gear, tennis rackets, tennis shoes, tennis rings, tennis ball, whatever, or tennis in general. I'm also a tennis coach, so I can give you some advice if you are lost in your tennis journey. So guys, that's all for now. I thank you so much for watching, and as always, enjoy tennis, play tennis, watch tennis every time, every day, and don't forget to enjoy the manooovrlbity. Bye guys.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious. That ball was on the